Welcome back. We're going to talk about configuration in this video for PIM. So I'm in the Azure AD portal here, and I went to Identity Governance and then Privileged Identity Management. And over here on the left side, we're going to click on Roles, and then I'm going to drill into a role. So let's go ahead and do this for a role like, Intune Administrator. That sounds like fun. And this is where I can make which users can be eligible for elevating their rights to that role. So when I click on Add Assignments, this is where I can go through and start to add those users. Now, before I do that though, we want to go back and we want to go to Settings for the role. And this is where I configure all of the parameters around elevating rights for that role. So for example, we talked about this during design. We talked about the activation maximum duration. So I can have this role activated for a max of 24 hours or a half hour. So I might want to maybe do 8 hours or whatever my business requirements dictate. And then when a user gets activated, they have to require multi-factor authentication. That's probably a good thing. And then they also have to enter a justification, enter a ticket number, and then require approval means somebody has to approve their access. And so I'm just going to come in here. I've already created a security group. Now remember, we talked about this during design, and I have a security group that's going to approve that. Now assignment's interesting, and this is where you got to be careful with this. Allow permanent eligible assignment. This means that if I have that checked, my users who are eligible for an Intune Administrator role will be eligible forever. Now, it's probably a good practice to not check that and require your users to maybe recertify every 6 months or maybe every 1 month. And they have to give a business justification for why they need to be eligible to activate that role. And then allow permanent active assignment means when I check that, they become an Intune Administrator forever. Now, if I leave that unchecked, then if I choose to make them active, then they're only going to be active for maybe 6 months. And then from there, or I could drop that down. And then from there, I can require MFA again on active assignment, and then again, require justification upon active assignment. Under notification, this is where you can have email notifications sent. It will get a little noisy, so you want to make sure you design this appropriately and have the right people receive the emails. Critical emails only simply mean they're only going to send out an email that requires immediate action, like hey, you need to approve this user kind of thing. So just keep that in mind. And then when I go to update here, it's going to it's going to configure that role. Now, once that role is configured, this is where I can add assignments. So let's go, now that we've configured the role, let's go ahead and add a user to be eligible to be a Intune Administrator here. So I'm going to add Patty, and Patty is now eligible to elevate her rights to be an Intune Administrator. Now, when she does elevate her rights, we can say that well, actually, let's back up. So the assignment type. So eligible simply means that she's eligible to elevate her rights, and active means she's permanently made a Intune Administrator. So active just means she's granted the rights right now. Eligible means she has to submit requests to get it approved. And when this happens, my assignment for Patty or anybody that's in this role will start today, and it ends on 11/25/2020, so a month from now. And then after a month, she's no longer eligible. She's going to have to submit a business justification and contact the admin here to let us know why she still needs access. So hopefully that's clear for you. Now, once I've added Patty, she's ready to rock and roll and log in. So let's go ahead and log in and take a look at what that looks like. Okay, so here's Patty, and now you can see that she has Intune Administrator added along with some others. And now she can go ahead and click Activate to then submit a request to elevate her rights. So she could put in custom activation time. Maybe it starts tomorrow or a week from now. And then remember, she could choose her max duration that she needs those admin rights for. So per our policy, remember we set the max to 8 hours. Maybe she only needs it for an hour. She could type in her ticketing system and then the ticket number, and then give it a business justification, and then click Activate. Now, when she clicks Activate, it's going to submit that request over to an approver from that PIM approvers group, and now they have to approve it. So let's take a look at that. So here's Megan, my PIM approver, and she got an email letting us know that Patty's request to activate the Intune Service Administrator role, and then she could click on Approve or Deny Request. And then she will be brought to the Azure portal, and we will see that show up here in the bucket. And there's the Intune Service Administrator request. And you can see Patty's also submitted another request here. And from here, I can either approve or deny the request. And when I click on deny, I have to type in a justification, letting her know why. That does get logged in the audit log. And then if I want to approve it, I can review the request and then type in the business justification to approve it. And that gets logged in the audit log as well. I may want to go look up the ticketing number here in the ServiceNow ticketing system to see if there's any other context around this. So that's really it. When it comes to configuring PIM, there's not a whole lot to it. You just need to make sure you configure your roles appropriately, like I showed you. And then once you configure the role, then you just go ahead and add users that are eligible to be assigned to that role. And here you can see some of my users that I've done that for. That's really it. Now, when you go to alerts, we talked about this during design. These will only get emailed with the weekly newsletter that goes out. And by the way, you get the weekly newsletter if you're a member of the Global Administrators Group or the Privileged Role Assignments Group. And so that's really it, folks. Now, in the next video, I'm going to talk about access reviews, and I'm going to go deeper into this and how this works. Discovery and Insights, we talked about this during design. This is where I can go in and see how many global admins I have and then see who's actually assigned a role. And then if there's any service principals with active role assignments. And this just allows me to clean this up, really. And when I go to settings, this just takes me back to all of the roles that I have configured here. And then that takes me to the settings for each one of the roles. And we've already talked through this. So as you can see, there's not a whole lot to PIM. Just make sure that you understand how to configure roles and how to make users eligible. All right, if you found value in this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, let me know. Give me a thumbs down and give me some feedback. We'll see you in the next video when we talk about access reviews. Take care.